talk about the good news, or what we hope should
Let's hear
become
it.
good news. Per reports by one Mr. Jeff Passan of ESPN, the Cubs are finally doing the thing that we've been yelling for the last week and a half. Literally the exact thing I proposed on last night's show with Nick, which was, hey, look, I understand if Morel is still striking out too much, you leave him down a little longer so he can work on that every single day in 3 to 4, maybe 5 plate appearances because he's hitting at the top of the lineup right now in Iowa. And he just won International League Player of
Yep.
the Month for April. So congratulations to Christopher Morel. I'm actually wearing a Morel jersey right now as we speak. So big props to him, but he's still down in Iowa. But on his way up is the guy I proposed, because you only need to give up one roster spot. And I can already think of the name that they can DFA, and it's no harm,
I
no
think we
foul.
both have the same guy.
Sending Edwin Rios, not to the Sun. He's probably a nice guy. We'll just say to his next venture.
Yeah.
Matt Mervis is reportedly on his way up. It's not official via the Cubs yet, but Mervis has tweeted out that tweet on his own, I believe you said it was personal Instagram. He put it on his
He
story.
shared it on his Instagram story, yes.
So there's got to be some truth to it. It's all but official pretty much at this point. Mervis is coming up. He'll be up with the Cubs for this Marlins series for sure. I would imagine he's going to get an extended look, because if Rios is departing, the only person that could battle him for a position, I think, on the team right now in this very moment is Christopher Morel. So, Tyler, initial thoughts and feelings on Matt Mervis finally getting his first call to the big leagues.
It's about freaking time. It's about freaking time. Because the thing is, like we've sit here and talked about it. We tweeted it from the Cubs on Tap account, just all his, 6 home runs, 27 RBIs, nearly, 280 plus batting average. But like, what's most impressive that I've noticed and seen on Twitter is just throughout the past 3 seasons, how he has lowered his strikeout percentage and raised up his walk percentage. Very impressive. And his numbers against lefties are impressive too. So for everyone that says, oh, he don't matches righties, that's not true. He's batting 300 against lefties. And I know it's the minor leagues, but still, it's impressive. Now, with that being said, I hope there's not a ton of pressure. I hope he doesn't come in with that feeling of I've got so much pressure on me to do so much. Please, please, I hope that's not the case. But with that being said, I hope with him coming up, I hope this almost provides just a spark to everybody else, almost like a message from the front office. Hey, we're going for it. Hey, we're calling this guy up. We've talked about it. We've heard about him. We've seen him for the past year and a half. It's time. Let's see what happens. And so hopefully he just provides that spark throughout the whole rest of the lineup.
Yeah, I agree completely. It's funny because of the timing of the announcement, Tyler. Like, it almost felt like the Cubs bats woke up in that 8th inning when they heard Mervis was getting called up. Kind of like that shot in the arm a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I'm right there with you, right? He's probably coming in. If he does play tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if he just DHs.
Yeah.
And if they let either Mancini or Hosmer play first base, I wouldn't be shocked by that at all. I wouldn't be shocked if he's hitting 7th in the lineup. I don't think that would be totally out of the blue either. But it's just going to be refreshing that they're giving him a chance, right? Because you can make the argument, all these people, well, this team, they're going to do what they want to do. Sure, but you're not okay, let's say he does come up and struggle a little bit. What difference, what is different than, Hosmer grounding out the second, or Mancini going on these, or Mancini going on these hot and cold streaks where he'll have a game where he gets 2 hits and then he'll go, there's no difference. The only thing it can do is help you at this point.
Yeah.
Is if he comes up and he just has to continue to look like the player he's been in the minors. And I'm not saying he's going to get on base at a 400 clip, but if he comes in and he's a 780, 790 OPS player, that's a welcomed addition to this team right now. That's a hugely welcome addition. And I think his slug's going to be so high that if he comes in and does what I think he can do, right out the gate, he's going to be an 800 OPS player.
Yeah.
Just plain and simple. Because he's probably going to slug over 5. And then, he's, ideally getting on base at, maybe we'll call it like a 360 clip. I think that would be realistic with the bump, right? I mean, shit, if he wants to go for it and be a 400 OBP guy, by all means, please do.
Go ahead.
Let's say, let's assume slight regression on all of his numbers, right? He's slugging in the fives, so he's probably going to. I think he's still going to probably slug in the fives. But then let's say the OBP drops maybe to the 360s. The average maybe drops to like the 260s instead of the high 280s. Nonetheless, still a welcomed addition because of
Yeah.
the power he brings from the left side. And again, I think it's just you're at the point where he's shown you what he can do at AAA, right? He got
Mhm.
there last year. He continued hitting at every level as the season went on in 2022. And then he came out the gate this year and did the exact same thing. So it was like, okay, it's not a fluke. It's not like a flash in the pan. His numbers actually have improved this season
Yeah. Yeah.
from last year as in totality. And not so much the average. The average is slightly down, but his on base and his slugging are higher. No, that's not entirely true. Slugging's a little down. His on base is higher though. Nonetheless, he looks like a complete player. He's still a 900 plus OPS player at the minor league level. He's going to come up. Ideally, he gives this team some level of a spark. And the weather's warming up in Chicago, for those that don't know.
Okay.
Today was 70 degrees. It is gorgeous outside. I'm pissed that I've been stuck indoors all day. It's the perfect weekend for the wind to blow out and this guy to put some balls in the jet stream. Get the
Dude,
power out
team
there. This
all over.
offense desperately needs it. Yeah, and like Juice said with you the other night, ball go far, team go far.
Yep.
And it's getting to that point now where it feels like they're really going to be able to do something here with Mervis
Totally.
coming up. Again, I also think, too, for Cubs fans, it's just exciting to see something a little different.
Yeah.
I think we all had that feeling when they chose, Nelly V over Torrance, even though they haven't played Nelly V every day. I think that's the last thing I want to note about Mervis is he's coming up. He better play at least 5 times a week,
Yeah. Totally.
minimum. If he's not coming up to play 5 times a week, put him back in Iowa.
Yeah.
Like
Not this,
none of
let's,
this Nelly V bullshit where he sits on the
yeah.
bench 4 days out of the week.
Can't do that. I mean, you can't do
No.
that to a young guy, especially with especially with the potential that Matt Mervis brings. You can't expect him to hit like we expect him to hit if you're only going, starting 2 games a week. You just can't do it. And going back to your point about Matt Mervis, let's not forget this guy was a undrafted. We signed him as an undrafted free agent. So yeah, he's gonna
A little bit of an asterisk with that, but
a
yes.
little bit of an
Yeah,
asterisk.
yeah.
But like, maybe he does struggle right off the gate. That's okay because like you just said, can't be any worse than well, I was reminded of like Mancini or Hosmer.
See, they've been so bad you forgot their names.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also don't forget Chris Bryant, our number 1 draft pick. He struggled when he came up at first.
Sure did.
So it's like tomorrow's going to be great if he starts. I'm going to love to see him in the lineup. Let's not I'm hoping not to see like people over exaggerate and like point at Matt Mervis as the guy like this guy's going to be the savior for this offense. Like I don't want to see that. But yeah, man, I agree. This guy's got to be in the lineup at least 5 times a week and just build that confidence up. He seems like a very cool, calm, and collected guy. I mean, we listened to him at Cubs convention earlier this year, and you've seen him in interviews and stuff like that. He seems like a very just calm, cool individual that's not gonna, let the bright lights of Chicago get him nervous and all that kind of stuff. Don't want a nervous Mervis. But yeah, man, it's just going to be refreshing to see Matt Mervis in the lineup tomorrow.
Yeah, no nervous
Hopefully.
Mervis, just smash, bash, and mash
Yes.
for Mr. Matt Mervis. Agreed. I think that'll be cool. Yeah, hopefully see him in the lineup tomorrow. Also, fun facts for some Cubs fans that might not realize this, because I understand not everybody follows the ins and outs and interweavings of baseball like we do, because we're sports nerds and that's why we do this. Mervis was a two-way player in college. He
Yep.
both pitched and
Pitcher.
played positionally. Focused more on the position player side later, but started his career out that way. Went to Duke, so a second baseball alum from Duke on the roster. For those that might be sitting there wondering, I wonder who's the first. It's Marcus Stroman. And on top of that, yes, he was an undrafted free agent technically in the draft. Mind you, that was the 2020 year when it was a 5-round draft. So had it been a 20-round draft, he would have been drafted. He probably would have been like a 6th or a 7th round pick in that draft. But still, when you consider the way how baseball works, a guy being a sixth round, pick in 2020, and by 2023 he's your number 6 prospect in a
Exactly.
top 12 farm system, certainly says a lot about how far he's come as a player, and the instructional that he's taken from the Cubs to get better. So, very excited to see what Mervis brings to the table. Again, it's something new. It's going to be refreshing to see a piece of the future. The Cubs keep telling us hashtag next starts here. Cool. This is part of that next.
Yeah.
Is seeing what a guy like Matt Mervis can do. He's part of this first wave of prospects. He's with
Yeah.
the first wave of guys like a Nelson Velasquez, and to a fault a Christopher Morel. And now we're getting to see it with Mervis. Amaya was a bit of a surprise, but still cool to see Amaya doing his thing. Overall, looked really good in today's
Yeah.
game.